Nations are not shaped by elections alone. They are shaped by ideas, by narratives, and by those who teach the public how to see power. Political analysis can sharpen minds or mislead millions. It can challenge authority, rewrite public opinion, and leave a mark on history long after the headlines fade. In an age where perception is power, the battle is not just for votes, it's for understanding. This is the game changer, where perspectives are challenged, narratives are questioned, and the way we see the nation is never the same again. Good evening, I'm Ox Ballado, and this is The Game Changer. Philippine politics today is drowning in spin, propaganda, and manufactured outrage. Everyone has an opinion, but very few offer real analysis. In a time when narratives are weaponized and truth is bent to serve power, political analysis becomes an act of resistance. It challenges authority, exposes patterns, and forces accountability. Our guest tonight does not play politics. He studies it. He dissects power, questions systems, and explains what many would rather keep confusing. He is a political analyst, University of Santo Tomas Department of Political Science, international relations expert, and former president of the Philippine Political Science Association. This is the kind of voice that doesn't follow the noise. It confronts it. Please welcome Dr. Dennis Coronacion. Good evening, Prof.
Good evening, Sir Ox.
Eto, nagkita tayo ulit, and I'm so happy that you're joining me in the show. Mukhang maganda pag-uusapan natin today.
Mukhang maganda, Sir Ox. Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita dito.
Of course. Now, let's start your journey. How did you first enter the field of political analysis? What sparked your interest in politics as a discipline rather than just a discussion?
Well, actually, my journey in this kind of activity as a professional of political science dates back to, I think, way back in 2013 or even earlier than that. Every now and then, I would get invited by some public programs, and they would ask for my opinions on various national issues. Oo, halimbawa, presidential elections, SONA ng Pangulo, midterm elections, and any other political issue that would just come out.
All right. Anyway, balik tayo ng konti. Looking back, what experiences or mentors or moments shaped you into the political analyst you are today?
Well, as for the mentors, actually marami dyan. Of course, meron dyan, most of them are colleagues from the profession, from the discipline. Nandyan, of course, si Dean July Tihanki. I look up to him. He is, I think, the leading political analyst in the country, as well as a political scientist, at least in terms of the number of publications. Oo. Tapos, just like yung ano natin, bisita natin, si Dr. Clarita Carlos. I used to read her articles when I would want to know something about Philippine foreign relations. And there are other people who do not necessarily come from the field of political science. Oo, sila yung mga practitioners, although wala silang formal training in political science.
But turned out to be eventually political scientists.
Yeah, or political analyst. Oo. O kasi magkaiba yung political scientist and political analyst. Yeah, anyone can be a political analyst.
But not
everyone can become a political scientist. That's right.
Alright, sa industriya, sa field, meron ba mga detractor? May mga ganun ba? And if ever, paano mo yung pinapakitunguhan ito?
Well, it's normal kasi if you're going to, syempre, if you're offering your opinion in every political issue, not all people would agree with you. Some are very important people, some are ordinary people. And some of them are very vocal in terms of disagreeing with you. Sabihin talaga nila sa yung diretso. Either, well, most of the time through social media. Oo, magsasend sila ng direct message. And then they would, makikita mo na very intense and emotional sa pag-disagree sa'yo. Na minsan nga may kahalo pang threat or mura. Na-experience ko na yun during the time of President Duterte. Mukhang marami siyang mga avid followers and supporters at talagang nagme-message sa akin.
Nag-reacted right
there. Well, nasa ano na yun, nasa sayo niya kung papatulan mo o hindi. Pero one thing you need to know about being a political analyst is that dapat hindi ka pikon.
Right.
Oo.
Anyway, ano yung isang hindi niyo makakalimutang interview at sa inyong karera bilang isang political analyst, kung meron man? I mean, maybe mga nakaraan pa or pinaka-recent?
Marami akong mga unforgettable moments. Yung iba, syempre may kinalaman sa struggle or failure. Yung iba naman may kinalaman sa success. Yung mga international interviews, of course, I cannot forget my international interviews kasi kumbaga man, opportunity yan to expose myself to the international community.
Right.
May mga guestings ako sa CNA and other mga foreign media. Kapag ganyan, one thing I learned about these international interviews is that you really have to be very prepared. Tsaka dapat walang focus ka. Oo, kasi of course, yung conversation nyo is in English. And minsan may mga accent. Yung mga yan, halimbawa, Singapore media, yung accent nila. So pag nawala ka, mahirap mag-request, paki-repeat nga. Can you please repeat what you said? So yun, marami, but there was this one guesting that I had na hindi ko talaga makalimutan. Meron akong narinig from a debater who happens to be a vlogger. A famous vlogger. It turned out when I checked his profile, siya pala ay Duterte.
Okay.
And napahiya ko yata siya sa aking tanong. And there was not enough time for him to redeem himself on national TV. Kaya the following days, hinahamon niya ako yung mga sunod-sunod na araw, hindi niya ako tinitigilan. And I felt harassed kasi sa sobrang frequent ng paghahamon niya.
Hindi mo talaga makakalimutan kasi naging suki mo rin.
It was my first experience na nabash talaga ako ng ganun katindi.
Anyway, from your perspective as both an academic and analyst, how would you describe the current political situation in the Philippines?
Well, I think siguro in our country, if we talk about politics, para tina-highlight yung conflict. Kasi parang boring pag-usapan yung mga success stories o kaya yung mga governance itself. If someone is doing good in terms of governance, parang boring siya pag-usapan.
Hindi masyadong tuloy pinag-iinteresan.
Yes, that's right. So kaya ang na-highlight sa atin yung political conflicts. Now, ang tingin ko, yung level of political conflict is very high, very highly polarized. You have the administration You have the new opposition. Kasi in traditional opposition, ito yung mga former Liberal Party members or those who used to be affiliated with Liberal Party. Pero they still belong to the same group kasi they have the same brand of politics. And then you have the allies of the Duterte family. Sobrang intense kasi I think almost every day or every week mayroong panibagong issue that involves the two dominant political groups, the administration plus the new opposition led by the Vice President. Non-stop ito, no? Kasi malalaman mo if intense yung yung mga political issues sa bansa natin. From my perspective, from my experience, if the media people would request interviews. Kapag walang issue kasi madalang o walang demand. Pero pag alam mong sunod-sunod yung issues, maya't maya ang request for interviews. So sabi ko, mukhang matindi. Although if there's anything that's commendable about these opposing groups is that they don't go beyond the peaceful means of doing politics.
Right.
They still, kumbaga man, yung kanilang pamumulitika nandun pa rin sa rules of the game. Hindi sila lumalampas doon to the extent na baka magkaroon na tayo ng civil war. That's a good thing about our political leaders. Kung meron man tayong positive na gustong silipin sa ginagawa nila.
Democratic pa rin somehow yung approach.
Yes, democratic. Kaya nga lang, they are testing the limits of our democracy.
Is it just evolving, stagnating, or repeating old patterns?
Well, there are some, events, political activities that are new to our experience as a nation. And there are also some political activities that have been recurring. O luma na, nauulit-ulit lang, nag-e-evolve lang. Oo. Halimbawa, yung sinasabi nung, I think this was already discovered way back during the American period and the post-colonial period when we got our independence. And we were governing ourselves already. Meron na daw patron-client politics. This was way back in the 1930s or even earlier, yung una tayo nakatikim ng local and national elections. Tapos, after the American period, ginagawa pa rin natin yun, yung patron-client politics. Hanggang ngayon. Pero iba na ang forma, syempre. Kasi nag-evolve, iba na ang constitution natin.
Nagbabago lang yung mukha, essentially same.
Yes, essentially the same. Tungkol pa rin ito sa mutually agreed arrangement ng dalawa o mas marami pang tao na hindi sila equal in terms of status, pero they have agreed that they would scratch each other back.
We multiply the good for Filipinos nationwide. We drive learning. We promote wellness. We help rebuild lives. We turn hope into possibilities. We care for our players. We advance digital skills and employment. We bridge accessible healthcare to the underserved. We respond in times of disaster. We grant wishes that bring hope and opportunities. We champion responsible entertainment.
project by Bingo Plus Foundation, it really could help a lot of students and ignite their hope to innovate, to love science, to pursue research in academic but also in their professional life.
Wala na yung mga dumi galing sa tubig, malinaw. Safe na po yung tubig namin. Thank you!
Kayo po ang ilaw ng aming buhay at tahanan po. Sa loob po ng 20 years, nagkailaw din po kami.
Maraming salamat kasi natupad yung kahilingan ko po na magkaroon ng sariling tindahan. As in, sobrang saya po namin mag-ina.
I think what DigiPlus and Bingo Plus is doing is really remarkable, and I really affirm you guys for that kasi like this one is a very big step.
Together, let's help Filipinos thrive and win in life.
The best players succeed because they set boundaries. Every great athlete wins with control. Always have a game plan.
Ulamin mo na lang, ipang tataya mo pa. Naku, pusta de peligro yan.
Nagsweldo na lang.
Kung pusta de peligro na, pause na muna. Dahil ang gaming dapat fun lang.
At syempre, para tulungan tayong himayin ang mga isyong politikal at matalinong diskurso, veterano po sa larangan ng mga isyong politikal. Matapang, diretso at matalino sa kanyang mga binibitawang pahayag at pagpapaliwanag. Academician from the University of Santo Tomas and an international relations expert, Dr. Dennis Coronacion. Sir, good evening.
Good evening, Sir Ox. Magandang gabi ho sa inyong lahat.
All right. At this point, Prof. Dennis, let's find out who is the real political analyst. Kasi these days, it seems like everyone is, with a social media account, is suddenly a political analyst, right? Sige, what's your reaction to the growing number of people who label themselves as a political analyst simply because they comment on political issues online? Yung binabanggit natin kanina, iba yung vlogger, yung iba pa yung mga very active sa social media.
Political analyst kasi can be used loosely by any person who has an opinion about a political issue. Oo. Bakit ganon? Kasi maaring yung kanyang current status na hindi siya political analyst ay hindi paniniwalaan. Kasi label matters a lot. In terms, that's right. Para paniwalaan ka ng mga nakikinig sa'yo, nanonood sa'yo, kinakailangan meron ka source of authority. And sometimes, malaking tulong yung, yung branding or yung label, yung title. Oo. So ito yung puso na term, political analyst. But when we look closely, when we listen to their opinions, makikita mo, these are just opinions, which are subjective. Ang hugot nila yung kanilang karanasan, and minsan yung advocacy. Oo. Ang mga political analysts na nag-undergo ng training, o sabi natin na
may formal education.
That's right. Yung kanilang background ay political science or social science discipline. Makikita nyo na malalim yung hugot, academic, and tawag dito, objective. That there's some sense of objectivity. Although in politics, I say there's no such thing as objectivity.
Whether you like it or not, I mean, most of the time, lumilitaw.
You have to take sides. But if you're really a political analyst, wants to serve the interests of the public, you should show the pros and cons of both sides. That's right. There are some famous so-called political analysts or political pundits na makikita mo na in essence, meron silang political agenda. That should not be the case for a political analyst. Others are paid. Oo.
Yun yung crucial doon.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, just to top it all, some of your statements already answers this question, but anyway, what truly makes a political analyst a political analyst? And is it education, your methodology ba, tulad ng, or experience, Well, yung credibility, binabanggit mo kaninang branding siguro, pinag-uugutan. But anyway, yun ba ang mga bagay na may kukonsider natin para maging masabi natin ng isang political analyst ay siya talagang political analyst?
Well, tama kayo dyan, the factors that you mentioned are all important. Education, training,
The
methodology, that's right. Kasi you're offering your opinion Oo. Ang tanong dyan, how did you arrive at your opinion? How did you make that opinion? Of course,
Saan galing yun?
saan galing yun? Paano mo siya binuo? Diyan ngayon papasok yung years of training mo, decades of training, your experience, your methodology. Anyone can offer an opinion na hindi naman nag-undergo ng rigor o kaya ng isang objective methodology. Pero pag may method yan, makikita mo na it really helps in terms of giving credibility to what you're saying. Lalo na yung mga survey experts. Ito na nga, itong mga survey experts na to, yung mga top survey firms, some of them are led by political scientists. Like Professor Ranjit Rai and then si Dr. Ronald Holmes. These are all political scientists, And the funny thing is, lahat na ng ingredients for them to be considered as credible political scientists, nandyan na. And yet, nagkakamali pa rin yung mga studies nila, yung mga surveys nila. Just like during the last midterm elections, Bam Aquino at saka si Kiko Pangilinan. In the past few surveys just before the midterm elections, wala yung mga yan.
Hindi mo sila makita doon
Marcoleta was not also there.
The top 12.
That's right. So, there's always this admission na even though scientific yung method mo na ginamit, na meron paling room for error. Yan na yung margin of error sa mga surveys.
No matter how small the chances, pero meron pa rin chance na magkamali.
That's right. Because ang isang political scientist, we do admit na even though we have treated our studies seriously, we know, if we would like to predict, we know that puro lang to we cannot be very exact or precise in our prediction. Kaya kami, tanggap namin, probability lang kami.
I see. Kaya pala often used yung word probability.
Probability.
sa feeling nyo.
That's right. Probably this will happen.
Yes.
O kaya it depends.
Well, safe side.
Oo.
Okay. Anyway, ito, pananaw mo dito. Should there be standards or accountability for people who publicly shape political opinion but hide behind the label of analyst?
Well, there are no government standards.
Right.
There's no board exam for
But
this.
should there be
Well, I think so.
a certain amount of standard?
Yeah, I think so. Because ako kasi, that's my bias. I come from this, I come from the discipline of political science, so I think that there should be a certain set of standards to screen those who are pretending
To be
political analysts, those who are abusing the term political analyst, and those who are truly, those who are really political analysts. Pero at the end of the day, siguro kung meron magdedetermine dyan, yung mga tao. Oo. Ang problema lang with with the public listeners, the public viewers, is that they tend to be swayed by yung mga yung mga motherhood statements, yung mga ganon. Oo, kaya minsan may mga magagaling na mga political pundits na who would describe themselves as political analysts, pero magaling lang magsalita. Oo, pero pag titingnan mo mabuti, for the untrained eye, yes, sasabihin mo magaling, but for those who have undergone training, education, makikita mo, wala, propagandist. Propagandist to, hindi talaga siya analyst.
Right. Anyway, I still have a lot of questions, Professor Dennis, but for the meantime, we'll just pause for a break and we'll be right back.
Bubusugin ang inyong umaga. Gigisingin ang inyong diwa sa mga makabuluhang isyu ng bayan, sa mga trending at usap-usapan. Balitang malaman, huwag ng pagtalunan. Dahil dito, walang bola, puro tama. Walang bola, puro tama. Walang bola, puro tama. Kasama si George Bandola. Ano pang hinihintay nyo? Tutok na sa masayang komentaryo sa balat ng Digital TV. Walang bola, puro tama. Kasama si George Bandola. Dito lang sa balat ng Free-to-Air TV. D8TV Channel 31 sa inyong mga TV box.
Hi guys! Para sa mga bagong aspiring Lotto Millionaire, ito ang video na schedule ng Lotto.
Araw-araw, may tsansa kayong manalo dahil araw-araw ang sweteng hatid ng mga game ng PCSO.
From Monday to Sunday, 2D Lotto and 3D Lotto, 3 times a day magpapapremyo. That's every 2 p.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m.
At tuwing alas 9 ng gabi, back-to-back ang mga pampagood vibes na dala ng mga favorite digit at jackpot-bearing games.
Every Mondays and Wednesdays, mega saya ang dala ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 4D Lotto, Mega Lotto 645, and Grand Lotto 655.
Back-to-back-to-back naman ang multi-million excitement every Tuesday, hatid ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 6D Lotto, Lotto 642, Super Lotto 649, at Ultra Lotto 658.
Super exciting rin ang cash prizes na dala every Thursday ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 6D Lotto, Lotto 642, and Super Lotto 649.
Siguradong mag-e-enjoy kayo every Friday sa weekend treat ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 4D Lotto, Mega Lotto 645, and Ultra Lotto 658.
Talbog ang Sabado night gimmick dahil big time ang panalong dala ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 6D Lotto, Lotto 642, and Grand Lotto 655.
At pagdating naman ng Sunday, game na game pa rin ang mga Lotto Barkada sa papremyong dala ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, Super Lotto 649, at Ultra Lotto 658.
Huwag palampasin ang pagkakataong maging Lotto Milyonaryo.
Gina, sa suking Lotto outlets and buy your tickets na!
At araw-araw, let's play Lotto!
We're back here on The Game Changer. Tonight, let's talk about political analysts as game changers, Professor Dennis. let's talk about the impact. No? Let's examine closely and briefly. No? Pasadahan natin, mabilisan lang. How do political analysts influence or even help shape the course of the nation's history?
Well, isa lang, there's only one way for us to influence and help shape the course of our history. And yun yung it's a battle of ideas. We offer our ideas as opposed to the other ideas. Kasi the good thing about this democratic system that we have in this country,
in our country, yes,
it allows free exchange of ideas. So as a result, marami ngayon iba't ibang mga opinions. And consequently, people get confused. Whose opinion is the right one, di ba? Whose opinion is telling the truth or closer to the truth. So dito kami nagiging importante because our primary job is to make sense of what's going on in our country, particularly with regard to our politics. So our interpretations of what's happening in the country matters a lot. They matter a lot, kasi people would be guided. And sometimes, wala lang kami sa realm of ideas eh. Sometimes our opinions translate or convert into, say, a public policy. O kaya yung vote ng mga voters natin, especially during elections, during campaign period, candidates would say na they would fight for this, they would promise this one. Kami yung magsasabi kung alin ba dyan ng mukhang totoo at hindi totoo. So, along the way, as we do that, we tend to affect the discourse, the public discourse, and the decisions made by not just the government, but by the common, ordinary people.
Totoo yan. I agree because, kayo mga political analysts, when you discuss, even like, minsan magkakaiba naman yung analysis, no? Yung ideas. May mga clashes of ideas. But at the end of the day, makikita mo na buhay talaga yung sense of democracy, yung demokrasya, and not just you don't just purvey, wisdom here. You just don't shape opinions, but, you actually mold the minds of the people, and you ultimately affect your listeners or your viewers.
Yes, that's true, Kasi yung mga nakita ko yan sa mga relatives ko, sila nakikinig rin sila sa mga ibang mga political analysts. And they follow this, political analyst. And when they would talk to me, sasabihin nila, uy, si ganitong political analyst, iba kayo. Okay, minsan pareho kayo na sinasabi. So sabi ko, okay, may impact naman pala kami, kahit hindi naman yung opinion ko ang ina-adapt nila, o pinakikinggan nila, pero at least makikita na yung ginagawa namin, mayroong impact sa mga ordinaryong tao.
I like it when you earlier said that your duty is to make sense. So, malaking bagay nga naman. I mean, kasi kung merong dapat pakinggan, panoorin, like, for example, sa television, yung mga political analysts, kasi pinag-aralan nyo to eh. Hinubog kayo ng panahon dito. And then, kung meron dapat mag-criticize sa mga issue pinag-uusapan sa lipunan, kayo na yun.
Kasi nga, given our background, our training, and the methods that we use, alam namin agad if something is a propaganda, or if the government is hiding something from the people, or if a political group has a sinister plan.
Yes.
We can see through all these things. Yes, nasisilip agad namin yan. And we tell the people. Now, ang problema, sometimes, pag hindi maganda yung opinion namin, in a democratic setting, of course, mababash kami.
Yes.
Kapag unpopular yung aming opinion.
Doon po lumulutang yung mga detractors.
That's right.
Okay.
Ngayon, in an authoritarian setting, importante rin yung namin, hindi lang sa democratic setting. Kasi dyan madalas yung government leadership may tinatago sa mga tao. Dyan malakas ang propaganda. To justify what the government is doing. Tapos, ang nagiging role namin sa ganyan, in an authoritarian setup, ay maging kritiko ng pamahalaan. Kaya maraming namamatay. Kasi minsan, hindi lang kami political analyst, piniplay din namin yung role ng public intellectual. So, if we speak the truth to power, there are some instances that namamatay yung mga o pinapatay yung mga political analysts or public intellectuals.
Hindi ganun kadali pala yung role ninyo as mga political analysts. Meron pa rin kakibat na panganib din, ha?
Yes, meron ganyan. No? May kasama parating panganib. Kasi nga, ideas can really influence people. Na pag na-influensyahan mo, they can either side with the government or turn against the government.
Especially when you become so critical about certain issues.
That's right.
All right, as a former president of the Philippine Political Science Association, what concrete steps the group is taking to professionalize political analysis and elevate the quality of political discourse in the country?
Actually, itong political analysis is just one of the many things that we're doing. Yung mga members ng professional organization namin, yung Philippine Political Science Association, most of them are academicians. So they do research and they also teach. Yan ang mostly ginagawa. But there are some who have advocacies. Yung iba, pro-women empowerment, pro-environment, and so on and so forth. But mainly, ang ginagawa lang namin ay magturo at saka mag-research. Now, so if we'd like to improve or professionalize, if there's anything that we'd like to professionalize, yun. That's why every now and then, yung mga conferences namin, yung mga research namin, tungkol sa kung paano i-refine yung ginagawa namin. At saka i-present yung mga findings namin using our respective methods and theories. Now, yung political analysis, actually, parati namin ginagawa niyan, even if we don't do media guestings, talagang nag-a-analyze kami. Yung mga lectures namin sa mga estudyante namin, naka-incorporate doon yung analysis namin, political analysis namin. So it's, I think it's a part, a common ingredient, or common part of what we do in political science. It's just that there was a time when I proposed to my colleagues in PPSA, now why don't we come up with a pool of speakers o mga experts who can do media guestings? Ayaw nila. Kasi na-sense ko, most of my colleagues are media shy, camera shy. They're good.
Marami yan. I think marami rin mga brilliant minds, equally brilliant minds who can also share.
Pero pag makikita mo yung publications nila, very thorough, at yung kanilang analysis, at magagaling yung mga findings. Kaya nga lang, of course, ayaw nila. Kasi wala rin naman incentive na kasi tingin nila mababash lang naman sila. And that they think that yung pag lumalabas sila, hindi naman lucrative yon.
More often than not, pro bono. I am sure you understand that, Professor Dennis.
Kaya sabi ko, ito ang definition of public service.
Yes. And you guys really matter. Sabi mo pa nga. I mean, well, with your appearance now in our show, The Game Changer, I'm sure they'll certainly realize eventually na being political analysts, they really matter in the society. And they can be game changers.
That's right. Actually, ito yung mga ganitong klaseng mga public-oriented programs and shows are also helping us. Kasi this means that we are going beyond the confines of the classroom.
Yes.
Oo. So, mas lumalaki audience namin. And mas marami kami natutulungan pag ganon. Mas nakaka-enlighten kami at nagiging parte kami ng public discourse and public discussion. So, hindi lang naman yung mga tao na tutulungan namin, kundi kami rin. Oo. So, kaya nagkakaroon din ng self-confidence, yung mga At saka na-overcome namin yung problema namin. Kasi when we are talking with each other, kaming mga kapwa nasa political science, we comfortably use yung mga jargons, technical terms, and we can easily understand each other. But when we talk to the ordinary people, hindi nila kami naiintindihan. So there's this problem of communicating with the public. So ngayon, nasosolusyon na namin if we get exposed to this kind of shows, programs, nakikita namin na nasosolve namin yung pagkukulang namin. Kasi most of us have great ideas, sound analysis, but the problem is paano magre-resonate, paano maintindihan ng mga tao.
Well, somehow yung mga ganitong exposure mo mo as a political analyst provides you a potent venue to hone a certain skill, and that is to translate, easily maunawaan ng taong bayan. Kasi sabi po nga, may mga jargons kayo, meron kayong sariling language dyan sa field ninyo. Pero dito ka rin mahahasa. I'm sure maraming ma-influensyahan kang mga kasama mo sa field mo, Professor Dennis. Eventually, mag-guess na rin. In the first couple parts of our show, medyo napaka-seryoso natin. Pagaanin naman natin to this time. Sige, let's play a short game before we end this interview, Professor Dennis. Tawagin natin itong Final Destination. Di ba? Ganda, di ba? Final Destination. Okay, ang mechanics nito, magbabanggit ako ng pangalan ng mga personalidad at ano ang nakikita ninyong kalalabasan o endgame sa mga isyong kanilang kinasasangkutan o problemang kinakaharap. Base pa rin, siyempre, sa inyong masusing pag-aaral at pagtingin. Handa ka na, Professor?
Handa na.
Alright, let's get it on, Professor Dennis. First name on our list, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. At ang mga bumababang ratings ng kanyang performance sa pamamahala sa bansa. What is his final destination?
Well, I think at this point his main goal is to survive, given all the challenges that he has been confronting since day one. Well, actually, yung mga serious challenges, nag-umpisa yan nung yung kanilang unity may nag-split. Doon na ngayon nagkaroon ng mga, after that, doon na nagkaroon ng mga serious challenges. And I think at this point in time, sa kanyang 6-year term, ang kanyang main goal ay paano mag-survive. Hindi matanggal sa pwesto. Sayang kasi I think when he started out, what motivated him to run for this office was the legacy of the family, of his mother in particular. Yes. So, alam niyo naman tradition sa Pilipinas, kapag maganda yung pangalan, okay, naging brand name na yung pangalan, gusto ng mga anak, ituloy-tuloy nila. But the ending for President BBM, I think it's not going to be as what he expected or what he wanted it to be. Kasi biglang nagbago eh. So yun. So kung meron magde-define sa kanyang leadership, kasi we were expecting that he would, given his political mandate, I think siya lang, historically speaking, siya lang nagkaroon ng ganung karaming boto in the history of yung post-ed sa Philippine politics. Siya lang nagkaroon ng ganung karaming boto, malakas ang kanyang political capital, and yet yung sinasabi yung endgame, parang hindi maganda.
Okay, sige. That's with the President. Now, the next in line, second, VP Sara Duterte. At ang pangalawang impeachment na kaharapin niya ngayong taon, kung sakasakali, what is her final destination as well?
Well, she was able to survive the first one because of technicality or a legal, constitutional issue, at pumanig sa kanya doon ng Supreme Court. But this time around, wala nang ganong legal obstacle, itong second time. So, plus, of course, it's not just about, any talk about the impeachment does not limit itself to the legal aspect or constitutional aspect. There's also the political aspect. So, natanggal na yung legal obstacle yung na nakabase sa 1987 Constitution. So, baka matuloy na impeachment trial. O kung makakalampas sa House of Representatives, i-approve ng House at magkakaroon ng trial, I think baka matuloy na. Now, ang tanong doon is what's going to be the ending? I think she has yung kanyang mga allies nadagdagan right after the midterm elections. So it's possible na baka makakuha siya ng numbers, enough numbers for acquittal. I think ang kailangan lang 14 senators to vote for acquittal. Pero it's also possible na mag-ano rin siya, ma-convict. And yung conviction would have serious consequences or negative impact on her political career. Kasi may kasama yata yun na hindi na siya makakatakbo sa kahit anong public office. So, 50-50 Okay. Mahirap sabihin.
Alright. Sige, now let's talk about the third one. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Panfilo Lacson at ang kanilang investigasyon sa manumalyang flood control project.
I think kaya naman siya na-appoint si Senator Ping Lacson as chair of the Blue Ribbon Committees because of his reputation. Sa kanyang integrity, sa kanyang, I think, investigation skill of being a former police chief. Kaya nga lang, as time goes by, parang nagiging perception ng publiko ay nagiging spokesperson siya ng Malacanang. Kasi siya na minsan sumasagot doon sa mga tanong ng mga fellow senators niya. At mukhang may bias. So, I hope na hindi gano'n na maging ending o endgame para kay Senator Ping Lacson.
All right, the fourth one. DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla and his presidential bid.
Yeah, this one is interesting. Kasi there's this, I think, common misconception among, in Philippine politics na if you happen to be the secretary of the DILG, and DILG is, of course, it has the power to control and supervise, or at least to supervise yung mga local government units. So that means may impluwensya ka as the cabinet, as the secretary of DILG, may impluwensya ka sa mga local government officials at buong Pilipinas yun. Now, hanggang barangay level. So baka ang isipin, kapag naging secretary ka, winnable ka as a presidential candidate. Ang tanong ko, sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, meron na bang DILG secretary naging pangulo? Mukhang wala pa.
Okay. Sige. So, maaaring doon nakasalalay yung destinasyon later on. We'll find out. All right, the fifth one. Okay. Former President Rodrigo Duterte and the ICC trial.
Well, unfortunately for him, kahit pasabihin niya na ang legacy niya ay natanggal niya yung mga drug addicts sa Pilipinas, although not all of them. Ang problema naman doon is that yung kanyang pagkaka-arresto at pagkakakulong, parang naging poster kid ng fight against the culture of impunity. Kasi alam naman natin yung mga public officials natin, when they commit mistakes, when they commit wrongdoings, hinayaan na lang natin tinotolerate. Hayaan mo na yan. Lalo pa,
palagpasin na lang.
Palagpasin na lang natin. So, na-create tuloy yung culture of impunity. Kaya yung mga courts natin, hindi siya tinatry dito. Kasi nga, we have become desperate. Hindi yun, kapag dito natin finailan yan ng kaso, malamang-lamang, pag iba na yung presidente, manalo yan sa mga kaso ipa-file sa kanya. At baka makawala rin payagan lumabas. Just like the previous presidents, di ba? Kaya nauso yung mga neck brace, yung mga wheelchairs. Pero doon, parang ang pinayagan natin, dahil alam natin na hindi maganda yung kalalabasan ng trial kung dito gaganapin. Kung sa courts natin, ipa-file yung mga kaso against him, tuloy, dinala natin sa ibang Pinayagan natin na yung international institution ang mag-determine kung ano magiging fate niya.
Okay. All right. Last question, but not necessarily the least, Professor Dennis. With what's happening now sa ating bansa, in the country, ano or sino or saan ang nakikita ninyong mali at bakit tayo umabot sa ganito?
Well, ang mali kasi is that nag-uugat doon sa yung personality-oriented politics. Doon nag-uumpisa ang lahat. Bawat isang political personality may kanya-kanyang agenda at interest. And there are instances na yung agenda nila would go against the Constitution, would go against the common interest, would go against public interest. Kaya ganito kagulo. Kumbaga man, yung dahil personality-oriented politics tayo, ang nagdedetermine ng ating kung ba yung magkakaroon ba tayong good governance or hindi, are these political personalities who happen to be members of powerful families. So, for as long as ganyan, ang kalakaran ng politika natin, patuloy tayong magiging magulo. Kasi sabi nga sa isang libro, anarchy of families. For as long as they continue to dominate Philippine politics, we will continue to experience anarchy.
Pero ang tanong ngayon, may pag-asa pa bang magbago?
Well, ang kagandahan kasi sa demokrasya, parang it's not a perfect system. Trial and error. It's always a work in progress. Kaya, kung meron man yung tanong nyo, Sir Ox, kung meron pa bang pag-asa, tayo makakasagot nun tayo mga ordinaryong tao. Kasi binigyan tayong kapangyarihan upang palitan yung mga leaders na yan. Susunod 2028 elections, ang tanong dyan, sila pa rin ba? Nakikita mo na nga yung nangyayari ngayon, sila pa rin ba yung ihahalal mo?
All right, Professor Dennis, thank you very much for your time and of course yung tiwala at for joining me in the show. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Politics does not fail in silence. It fails when lies are normalized, when power goes unquestioned, and when analysis is replaced by noise. In a time when opinions are louder than facts, real political analysis is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Because how we understand power determines how we respond to it. When analysis is honest, democracy is a fighting chance. When it is distorted, history is rewritten, and not always by those who tell the truth. This episode is a reminder the future of the nation is not only decided by those who govern, but also by those who explain, challenge, and expose how governance really works. I'm Ox Ballado, and this has been The Game Changer, where understanding becomes power.